Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and this is another StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today guys, I've got a ladder game. It is a ZvP. It is between AposisDiffe, who I'm going to call Aposis for the remainder of this game, who is the red Protoss player in the bottom right position. In the bottom left position we do have Ourk as the blue Zerg player. And well, those of you who don't recognise Ourk, he's a UK player who does really well actually. He's done pretty damn good in the well, he did pretty damn good in the WCS UK qualifiers and stuff. So basically he just got knocked out in the losers bracket by getting picked out by Johnny Rico, who is an amazing player for Team Dignitas. So that is really a bit about Ourk. He's done really well in multiplays I-45, which of course was the previous Insomnia, which is the UK's biggest gaming festival, which I cast I-46 of. Ourk came third, so he's a top quality UK player. Aposis, I don't actually know who he is. It's just a ladder game, so I think he's just some random High Masters or Grandmasters player. Now anyway, what can we expect from these two players? Well, basically being a ZvP, they are in close by ground positions. Now that can open up some interesting stuff for the Protoss player to do, especially with pylons here. It's a very quick rush distance if you warp in down on the low ground there. So I reckon we're going to see some kind of two-base play from Ourk, though we should see a 14-15 pull into a kind of 16-ish hatch, followed by a 4 to 5 minute third, assuming that this pylon means that it's going to be a fast expansion out of Aposis. Now Aposis, he's got to really be thinking on Antigua, being a bit bold really, trying to expand here, because it's a really wide ramp. It's very awkward to wall that off, and generally it can be just a bit of a pain. So interested to see how that all goes down. There's the spawning pool for Ourk, and looking down here we should see the actually come down any second. Now the reason I was thinking we're going to see a two-base play out of the Protoss is purely because of the warp in position here. Basically if you put a pylon down in this sort of area, you can warp in down here, and that rush distance is tiny, and especially when you consider this third base is going to be taken very soon. If these rocks come out, well, there is basically no reinforcement distance in the slightest, which is just crazy. Now, as you can see here, the Protoss player did go for a Nexus first build, so it's Nexus then Forge, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, on Antigua, that is just so bold. He's got, like, seriously, he's like Felix, the Red Bull, jumping out the space guy in, like, how big is this guy's balls are? He's just like, yep, I'm gonna go Nexus first on Antigua and it will be fine. And seriously, there's Ourk just like, I hope you didn't Nexus first after scouting me last. Oh dear. So clearly we are seeing here that it is a Nexus first. We've got some wall-offs coming on here, and obviously we do see that Overlord coming in, and Aposis, I already like this guy. He's just like, I hope you didn't Nexus first. He's just like, I did. Just like, he's literally like the puppy you get home to and see that it's pulled all the toilet roll off, and it's just like, did you do this? And the puppy just sits down and looks at you like, I did. And you can't feel mad at it. It's just like, oh, poor puppy. Anyway, looking here, as you can see, everything pretty much going okay for the moment. Nothing crazy happening on either side. They are getting a bit more into the standard flow. We do, of course, have that Overlord sitting there, just being like, yep, just chilling up here, keeping an eye on the gas timings. Are you getting your second gas? Cool, I know about that. I can see everything that's going on. Obviously, the third base for Ourk on its way down. No gas yet for him. He probably won't get any gas until about kind of 40 to 50-ish supply. That's really the safe point to get it. Now, obviously, Antigua's not too bad a map for Zerg, generally speaking, because defending this area and like around here isn't that much harder. So the third base is relatively easy to take, and you do have these rocks, which do actually take quite a while to knock out. So be interested to see how that goes. Ourk, I'm loving the Zergling placement. He's got Zergling. There's no way anything can get in or out with any ease, to be honest, because basically there is no way in or out. Here comes down the pylon though, and this pylon could really be the game deciding thing. Basically, you need to really be thinking as Protoss, how can I utilize the map to my advantage? And obviously on Antigua, this third base, very difficult to take. Even if they're in cross spawn or anything like that, this isn't an easy place to defend. It's a very wide open area down here. Everything is against you. So two base players you are pretty much confined to. So I'm expecting to see a big gateway push, to be honest. Although, having said that, there's no chrono boost on the warp gate, and there's also lots of gas coming So there goes the robotic facility. Perhaps it'll be some kind of other tech play, but obviously tech is the most likely thing now because a lot of gas is being got up very, very quickly. Ourk, meanwhile, has just got the 2 gas at the moment, and of course he's up to nearing up to 60-ish supply. He's getting lots of drones, a couple of Zerglings out as well now, perhaps getting ready to deal with the push. This one Zealot on its way out, doing some damage now. So obviously that's just trying to clear out some of this potential scouting information, force those Zerglings back. Of course, the Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber coming down at around 7 minutes, around the 6:37 minute mark is good. It gives you a chance to get some roaches out to defend any big gateway pushes or anything like that. But for the moment, we're seeing that it is literally just a 1-gate robo, so really hardly anything. And now the 3rd base coming down as well. So this is a really, really macro style build out of Aposis at the moment. And well, that one Stalker gets completely surrounded. That's a good little win there for Ourk. And well, we're seeing everything go precisely as you want for the Zerg player here. He's engaging cost effectively, he's not losing much, he's pushed back this pressure, his 3rd base is comfortable, he's droning up like a boss, and that's really putting everything where he wants to be. The Observer coming out now. Interestingly, the Observer rallied over here. I'm quite surprised at that, rather than kind of rallying up. Obviously, still just the, well, now the 3rd and 4th gas on the way, but no gas at the main, and the reason for that obviously is then that if anything's scouted in the natural or 3rd, you'll assume that your opponent's on 6 gas as opposed to just getting 4. We've got 2 more gateways on their way down. That Overlord getting picked off. We now have an Immortal queued up behind this. We've got a couple of sentries out, but obviously the 3rd base is where most of this action is going to be. Quite a lot of cannons coming down here, which are really required if you're going for such an early play, because lots of Zerglings are on their way over, will get scouted by that Observer. Ourk is supply blocked after losing that Overlord, which is always a big pain. He's getting out the Zergling speed, the Roach speed, perhaps going for some kind of Zergling Roach timing push. It's a very, very potent build indeed, especially the 1+1 carapace. It can be incredibly strong. Looking here, a Macro Hatch coming down as well. That's to be expected because the 4th base isn't super easy to take, but because they are in close by ground positions here, the 4th base is not completely disastrous, but lots of cannons there, force all of those Zerglings back. Will they be able to get around on the sentries? Some do manage to get in there. There's 1 sentry down already. The 2nd sentry going to fall. The Zergling do pick off a Zealot as well. Will any more sentries fall? That's already a good win though for Ourk, picking off 2 sentries though. And if we look at the loss tab, it's pretty level, but of course losing those sentries is quite a big loss at this stage of the game. First Immortal is there. That's going to reveal strategy a bit that the Immortal is out, and obviously any kind of scouting information you get early on is very, very good. These couple of roaches won't be able to push through that 1 Immortal for the moment. Obviously, Force Fields will be way too powerful. Need to be careful about poking in there as of yet, because obviously a Force Field down, splitting the army in half, will be absolutely devastating to the Zerg player. Looking back at his base, he's getting the Infestation Pit down, the +1 Carapace and Roach Speed about to click into effect. We've got the 2nd Immortal just coming down the ramp now, a 3rd one on the way, as well as the +1 Protoss ground weapon. So the upgrade advantage is going to be there for Ourk momentarily. In terms of the buildings, well, really not very much coming down. Just a couple more gateways here. That takes us up to 2, 4, 5, 6 gates. So really not that many at all. And as you can see, Aposis is banking up an awful lot of minerals. So he needs to do something with that fairly soon. Otherwise, he is going to run into problems. You don't want to have a big bank like that, especially this early in the game. That's way too much to have at this point. So he needs to start thinking, how am I going to be spending my money? He's getting Robotics Bay down, so that means Colossus will be available shortly. Obviously, the +1 Protoss ground armor coming down as well. So this will start looking to put Aposis ahead in terms of the upgrades, but of course double upgrades coming out for Ourk at the moment, so even with those chrono boosts won't be able to pull ahead. Ourk getting his 4th base up at the moment. Looking around here as well, we don't really have any more teching. Pathogen Glands on its way, the first Infestor's coming out. That's going to be a good force. I mean, Roachling Infestor, really solid. It's good, strong builds, and obviously you can see here this Protoss army, not much to really worry about once you start getting the Infestors out. Spire also coming down, so this is a really nice tech up. We've got the Overseer getting all the scouting information it does require. Looking down here, of course, we've got the creep spread going really nicely. The 4th base is about to come up, so obviously this is going to have to be some good defense at the moment by Aposis, doing the right thing, hugging against the wall, because you don't want to commit 4, because then Zerglings can wrap around. You need a lot more Force Fields. We do of course have as well somewhere the Twilight Council coming down. Not quite sure where that is at the moment. There you go, the Twilight Council, the 2nd Forge as well, so that'll definitely allow the Protoss player to pull ahead in terms of the upgrades. He's getting extended thermal lance down, the double Colossus production as well. That's going to help, but here we go. Good fungal growth goes down for the moment, and well, Force Fields on their way. The Infestors do manage to pull back though. A couple of fungal growths can be very, very potent in this matchup, especially when you lock down Blink Stalkers or anything like that. Of course, Blink not down yet, but I expect to see it shortly because it is just such a critical upgrade for Stalkers. Looking here, this Overseer Amaze being allowed just to sit in the base. You do want to try and pick off your opponent's scouting rather than letting a free view of everything that's going on. The +2 carapace on its way down. That'll bring us to 2-1 on the Zerglings and 2-0 on the Roaches. Of course, the Hive on its way. The Spire about to finish up. Should see a couple of Corruptors out just ready to deal with those Colossi. Looking here, Spine Crawl is getting chucked down everywhere. There's quite a lot more. This Spine Wall absolutely essential if you're going Broodlord Infestor, because you just need those Spine Crawlers in order to have a good solid defense, give your unit a chance to move, and really be in a nice position to get back and defend after any aggression should a counterattack be on the way in. Blink on the way down for the Protoss player here already. As you can see, we've got the 6 Corruptors coming out with only the 2 Colossi on the field. It could be a little bit difficult to, well, deal with the force, because obviously the Corruptors are going to knock it out very, very quickly. But of course, 2 more on the field now, and really you don't tend to see many Protoss players go above, say, 6 Colossi in this matchup anymore, because the effectiveness of them starts to really dwindle after that point, and too much of your army is taken up by the Colossus, and you need to start thinking about how you're dealing with Broodlords, etc. So we'll be interested to see how many Aposis does choose to get, but it looks like we're going to get a push. I don't reckon this is going to go too far, purely just because of this big Spine Wall. We see the creep getting picked off. We see Ourk preemptively rearranging his army. Protoss is ahead in terms of supply, but not by much. So here we go. We've got some fungal growth coming down. There's exactly the way that Ourk should be playing it, and this is Owl going exactly as he would want. The Corruptors moving forward, more fungal growth going down. This is absolutely great engagement. The Corruptors are picking off the Colossi very, very easily. The fungal growth allowing those Zerglings to get massive surrounds, and of course with more Corruptors coming across, Ourk is looking to absolutely crush this force. If he picks off all the Colossi, he is going to be in just such a brilliant position on that resupply of mass Zerglings. A lot of those Immortals on exceptionally low health, a couple of Infested Terrans getting lobbed out. That Spine Crawler Wall helping indefinitely to hold all of this off, and of course if we look here, the 4th base is up. The only thing I'd say Ourk could be looking to do is either go for a big counter attack, which is one possibility, or the other thing he really needs to be thinking is maybe I should expand as well. The only reason for that being is he is a base up on his opponent, but you should always be thinking, can I expand, can I get away with it, because he's just crushed the Protoss, and when you've knocked out all of their Colossi, they're not going to be coming at you again for quite a long time, because they simply won't have the firepower to deal with a large ground army, and as a result of that, it could be a safe point to go and try and expand. And obviously when you're banking up quite a few minerals and things, it can be a wise thing to do, rather than pumping out loads and loads of Roaches and Zerglings, which, to be honest, are great short-term, but not that great long-term. Here we go with a bit of aggression coming forward, though, again from Aposis. He's really quite bold doing this, because obviously with the Infestors there, with the fungal growth, and so many Zerglings, we could run into some big, big problems. So many of those Stalkers are going to get picked off. The Immortals on incredibly low health, and Ourk just doing the right thing, biding his time for the moment, allowing the Protoss force to eat up as many fungal growths as it can possibly take. But in come the Zerglings, here come the mass aggression, and without the Colossi there, this could become very, very difficult to deal with. Zealots are doing good damage, the fungal growth is still going down exceptionally well for the moment. Immortals getting picked off everywhere, they're not focusing down the Roaches, and well, mass Broodlords morphing in the center of the map, 9 of them on the way down, and as you can see here, the War Prison is getting focused. That's going to prevent any resupplies. We've got some more Infested Terrans getting lobbed down at the moment, just trying to defend those Broodlords. One gets picked off by the Stalkers, that's always very, very irritating, but Ourk in an absolutely amazing position at the moment. Just a couple of Zealots picking away at those Infestors. Don't those naughty Zealots know not to do that? That is not fair to those poor Infestors who just want to cover you in goo. They are like some kids program. Anyway, we've got the counter-attack coming in here from Ourk. We've got Infested Terrans getting lobbed down. Is absolutely great play at the moment, and as you can see, the Zerglings are, well, they're wrapping around this game, really not looking to be too promising for the Protoss player. We've got just continual aggression, the Broodlords moving forward, the last Colossus on the field does get knocked out, 2 more on their way in, but for the moment those Zerglings are doing a great job against the Stalkers. The 3rd base though is probably going to be the main focus of this aggression. Quite a lot of photon cannons there though. The Broodlords, if they just sit in the middle there, can easily counter any kind of aggression, but the Stalkers get an amazing blink underneath those Broodlords at the moment. Infested Terrans getting locked down though, and it looks like the Stalkers should be able to get cleaned up. Maybe another Broodlord will get picked off, it does, but Ourk looking to be in an amazing position right now. He's just absolutely laying siege to this 3rd base, double expanding behind this, which is exactly what he should be doing. But there is the wow from Aposis, which, yep, wow is definitely the right way to describe Ourk. He is way too good at this game, and well, he's played really, really nicely for the moment. He's just done some good play. What has Aposis done wrong? Well, in my opinion, I would just say his second attack was a bit wrong. He'd lost all of his Colossus and just didn't have enough time to well, try to rush in his next attack, which he didn't really have much time to. I agree with Ourk as well. Some more prisms in the main would have been an absolutely amazing choice. And I've got to say, shout out to Ourk for being such a great guy here and giving some feedback. I know a lot of people, especially at the top level, when someone asks for the good feedback, that they don't give it, they just leave or whatever. And I mean, there's no harm. It's just nice. And there's the GG, well played. So great manners from both these players, which is always lovely to see. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy the cast, then please subscribe. I get new games up daily. Leave a cool comment below. Let me know what you think of the players, the games, the casting. Like the video, and yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow for yet another new game. Thank you very much. I hope you did enjoy, and bye for now.